Hello, everyone, and welcome to season 3 of the You Deserve to Love Your Job podcast. We are officially toddlers, and I am thrilled about it. I am super excited about this season. And when you hear a podcast host say that, you can know that it's probably true because what I've learned in talking to other podcast hosts these last few months is that for most of us, it's not a full-time job. Right? It's something we do because we love it, because we enjoy or are passionate about the topic. Perhaps it helps a little with marketing, but it's absolutely an option. And I know for me, and I've heard from other podcast hosts, at the end of every season, you're kind of deciding if you're going to come back for another season. So when I say I'm excited to be back, I mean it. And I'm thanking you so much for joining.
Now available. You deserve to love your job. How to find your purpose and enjoy your life. You may not have learned this growing up, but you deserve to love your job. You will spend more time at work than in any other activity in your life, and you deserve to love it. Research tells us that people who love their work are twice as likely to enjoy their life. This book will help you create a blueprint to help you fulfill your purpose, love your job, and live the life you were designed to live. Now available at Amazon.
You know, one thing I learned on this break is that our podcast is ranked in the top 10% of all global podcasts. And that is shocking to me. Not because I don't love our guests or love our content. I certainly think it's top 10% worthy. I absolutely do. But I didn't know podcasts were ranked that way, first. And two, I certainly didn't know we were anywhere close to the top 10%. I was on a panel with some other podcast hosts, and two of them, which are friends of mine, shared that their podcasts were in the top 5% of global podcasts. And I was so amazed by that. One is one of my friends, Laura Eigel, who has been on this podcast before. And she has a podcast called You Belong in the C-Suite, focused on helping high achieving people get to the top. And the other is a friend of mine, Cole Napper, who has a podcast called Directionally Correct. And it's focused on people analytics. And both of those are in the top 5%. And so I was so impressed with that. And then after the panel, I sent Laura a quick email and just said, hey, how did you know where your podcast is ranked? And she sent me a screenshot of our podcast as it's ranked on Listen Notes, and it said top 10% of global podcasts. So let me just also say thank you all so much for listening, for watching on YouTube, for sharing, rating, reviewing the podcast. It's super helpful. If you haven't done that, definitely go do it now because apparently it really helps. So thank you all so much. It's great when something you're doing because you just enjoy it and believe you've been called to do it. And then all of a sudden you get an unexpected recognition. God is good. So thank you all so much for joining and for supporting the podcast. So today, though, I really wanted to overview and lay out season 3 for you. For season 3, we're going to do some things a little different, and we're going to do a lot the same as well. But one thing we're going to do is create a special focus on 2 topics: burnout and well-being. And I have had so many clients and just friends talk about burnout, whether that is caused by personal caregiving responsibilities or work or physical challenges, grief, mental health challenges, all of those things. A lot of us are dealing with burnout. So this season, we're going to do a special focus on burnout and also well-being, which are not the same things, right? So I'm going to define both of them and then talk about how we're going to use them in the podcast this season. The World Health Organization defines burnout as having 3 major characteristics in an occupational or work context. And I always say that, all of the work you have to do, even if you're not getting paid for it and it's not a job per se or a business, it's still the work you're called to do, right? So any work you're called to do in a day, a month, or year, I think about that as your work and my work. So when you think about work as a context, burnout is present when there are 3 things. 1, feelings of depleted energy, or just exhaustion. So there's a tiredness to it. Secondly, when there is increased mental distance from the work. So I feel, distant from the work, not engaged in the work, or feelings of negativity or cynicism related to the work. And then the third characteristic is just reduced effectiveness. So there's a physical tiredness component, there's a mental kind of I'm over it component, and you're just not able to be as effective as you know you could be. So we're going to spend some time this season defining burnout and talking about how to stop it. Then, really, on the other side of the spectrum, we're going to talk about well being. And just to use a similar source for comparative reasons, I'm going to go back to the World Health Organization, and they talk about well being as a positive state. It's similar to health in that it's a resource for daily life. Well being really is about the quality of our life and the ability of us to contribute to the world with a sense of meaning and purpose. So you can think of burnout is kind of when things go bad from a work context. And you can think of well being as when things are going right, like what's positive in my life, what's contributing to me having a really positive, high quality life. So they're not necessarily opposite ends of a spectrum, but they're definitely related. And one sits in more the negative context, the kind of negative feelings, and the other one sits in more the positive state or positive feelings. So for this reason, whether you're in a place of burnout or exhaustion, or you're in a place of, hey, I'm doing pretty well and just want to figure out how to thrive even more in my life, there will be something for you in this season. Just a quick side note, we know that burnout can also lead to feelings of hopelessness. And if you're in that place, talk to a professional, someone in your area that you know and trust, or you can call, there's a number 988 anywhere in the US. It's from SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And, you can call them and talk to a professional as well. But one thing we know is that when you're in a state of burnout, or especially hopelessness, which burnout can lead to, it can be hard to think well. And you often need a professional, someone to help you think through it. So again, 988 is a resource if you are interested or need that. But even if you're not in or close to burnout, it's important to know the signs so that you can pick up on those signs when you're getting close or it's heading in that direction. You can stop it before it gets all the way to exhaustion, all the way to cynicism. And again, that's not going to be our exclusive focus for this season. We have lots of other topics on lots of other things, but you'll see more episodes on those two topics, burnout and well-being, than probably any other single topic this season. The other thing you're going to see this season are guest hosts. So I really love partnering with other people. And I feel like I'm one of those people, better together people. I don't know if you heard that song by Fabulous, not sure how to say it, but Make Me Better. And he says, I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. That is me. Like, I feel like when I'm with other people and we can collaborate, it just is better. So, I already was able to do that a lot on the podcast in different ways. So behind the scenes, Samantha is always helping me create the podcast and get it out and just do a well quality job of producing the podcast. And then we have our guests who come on and give their content and ideas and just contribute to the conversation. So I've been able to do that already. And this season, I'm taking it one step further in having guest hosts. So not on every episode, but on a few of the episodes this season, there'll be a guest host joining me. And for some of those episodes, me and the person are going to just talk about a topic together. And for some of those episodes, we're going to partner in interviewing somebody else. But the goal is for you to hear from different people. I think it'll be super interesting. You get to hear different voices and perspectives. It'll be interesting for me and for you. And you'll get to hear from some of the most watched and listened to episodes of last season as well. So we're bringing back some of our guest favorites. So look for that this season as well. I'm excited about it. And it's going to be a new thing that we're doing during season 3. And my last note about this season is let's stay connected. So I love all of you all that are in my email group. And if you are, you may know you can actually reply to the emails and I'll reply back. And through those emails, I just learn a lot about what's on your mind, what you think of different content, where you're focused. And it helps us create content that I think is more relevant for you and more relevant for others. So if you're not in my email group, I want you to be. You can access it in the show notes by clicking Join the Crew. Or at the end of this video, we're going to put up a QR code that you can scan if you're watching this on YouTube to join the group as well. So for the email group, we send podcast notes for every episode, resource ideas, thoughts about how you can manage your career, grow your business, enjoy your life. It's really a community. And if you're listening to the season 3 overview, we're friends. So you might as well make it official and join the email group if you're not there. And if you are there, thank you so, so much. I look forward to staying connected through that. And of course, you can also follow me on Instagram as well, Arlene_pace_green. This season, another new thing, my daughter is going to be managing my Instagram for the podcast. So I already know it's going to be better. So please connect with me there as well. And, with that, we're going to get ready to kick off season 3. The first episode is a solo episode where I kind of lay out my own personal firsthand experiences with burnout within the last year and also previously. And so I can't wait for you to join me on that. Thank you all so much for joining season 3 of the podcast. I don't take it for granted. I can't believe we're in the top 10% of global podcast. You all are amazing. God is amazing. I love you, and I will see you in season 3. Be well.